Hello and good morning for another episode on the basics of QH business. It's snowing here in Toronto, Mississauga area this morning, so not sure how good the morning is for people around this part of the world, but life goes on. Actually, today is a very good example of how virtual check-in can help people avoid standing and waiting physically in the line, be it for their morning coffee or groceries or walk-in clinics, wherever you are. Check in online, wait in your car, or anywhere it is comfortable, avoiding the cold. You will be notified when it is your turn and then go in for the service. All right. If you are visiting this channel for the first time and do not know what QH Business is, QH Business is a virtual queue management app that you can use it for your organization. Your customers can line up remotely in a virtual queue and can have the flexibility to wait anywhere without the need to stand and wait physically in a line. You can then use this app to notify your customers one by one to come inside the premise for your service. If you would like to know more, please go to our website at business.qh.com. The link is also mentioned in the description, where you can find more information about the product. This video would be useful for those who have already registered their businesses and would like to know more on how to use it on a daily basis. So today we are going to take a look on how to use the app on our day-to-day basis to manage customers in a virtual queue. I'm going to show a basic flow of a queue without any of the advanced features so that you get an idea of how it works. So let's get started. At the start of the business hours, when you want your customers to come in for service, the first thing that you would do is open the queue. You can do it by going to the queue page, then to settings, and then slide the bar to open the queue. Once the queue is open, your customers would see the check-in options across various platforms like the QH app, the web check-in, the QR code check-in, wherever they are. If you have SMS check-in enabled, they will also be able to send an SMS with their first name to line up. SMS check-in is the only medium where we cannot see if the queue is opened or closed because there's no user interface except that SMS feature of the phone. So there is no way for them to know if the queue is open or closed. In this case, if the queue is closed and anyone sends an SMS, the system will reply back with a message saying the queue is currently closed. If the queue is open and the user sends the message, the user will be added to the queue or send back a web URL based on the settings you have configured in the app. All right, that's the first thing we do when we open the business, which is to open the queue so that our customers can line up. So all that is great, and now we see customers getting lined up for the service. But how do we call our first customer inside? Let me create a sample scenario here. Let me use the QH app to do a check-in and also use the web check-in to create some dummy customers. Couple of business check-ins as well. As you can see, all the lineups are showing up in the business app in real time. Okay, so we have around 4 users lined up. Not enough for a real business, I know, but for us in this demo, we are good to go. Now in the business app, we can see the users lined up. We tap on the first user, that pops up this screen where we can see more details about the user. We can also update information if we want to, like their email address or phone number or their name. Once we are ready to call this customer, we tap on active and then update. Now see what happens. This user used his QH app to check in. In this app, he is seeing now that it is his turn to go. He gets notified directly in his app. Even if he has his app closed, he would get a notification on his phone, so he can't miss it. If he is at some other page on the app, when he comes back to the check-in page, he would see it as his turn. Once this person comes inside and you provide the service on whatever you do, at the end of the service, you can mark him as complete. And then you call the next customer in line the same way. This person used a web check-in, so on the web page, he gets a similar notification. This way, the customers can be notified one after the other and the flow continues. If at any point of time you call a customer and he does not arrive, you can put him on hold. There can be other scenarios for hold as well, like if the person is with you but needs some more time to make a phone call to somebody else to get some information or whatever it is, you can temporarily put him on hold and call the next customer. It is up to you on how you can use this feature as per your convenience. You can also mark a user as abort. This would usually be when the user does not turn up for the service. If a user is in the queue and he decides not to continue, he can cancel out of the queue, and he can do that by tapping the cancel button on his end. Also note, you have the flexibility to mark multiple customers as active. The system does not stop you from doing that. If you are okay to call in multiple customers at the same time, feel free to do that, as the app is pretty flexible on that. The reason there is no constraint for this is because of the fact that you can use it the way your business needs it. This lets you define the constraint at your end in the business process, making it more flexible. If you are on a free plan, you get 100 check-ins per month. This check-in counts only when you mark a person as active. So if a person checks in and is in a waiting state, he can still cancel and go out of the queue. So we made sure that only when you mark someone as active, there will be a count added on the usage. If you are on any other plan, you have unlimited check-ins, so this is no more valid. At the end of business hours, when you do not want any more check-ins, you can go ahead and close the queue. One other thing worth mentioning here, even you have closed the queue and no other people can check in from outside, you as a business user can still make a check-in using the business check-in option. This comes in handy in scenarios where you do not want people to check in from outside, but for some reason you want someone to push through. You can check them in using this option on their behalf. You can close a queue even when there are people waiting in the queue. Scenarios where you already have a lot of people waiting and you don't want any more check-ins at this point until you finish the existing customers. You can close the queue temporarily and open it back when you are ready to do so. You will still be able to address to the people inside the queue even if the queue is closed. So you can mark them as active or hold or complete and so on. At the end of the day, once you close the queue, please make sure you archive and reset the queue. You can do so by going to the settings and tapping this button here. Archiving a queue will move all the queue related data for reporting and analytical purposes and will clear the current queue. Once archived, you will see all these tabs reset to 0, including the completed ones. So make sure you do that at the end of the day. I hope this video has been useful to understand how to use the QH Business app in your day-to-day activities to manage a virtual queue. If you need additional information or have any questions, you can reply in the comment section below or send us an email. I will put the email address in the description as well. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.